long before the world knew his name, long before billions would send peace upon him every day, long before his words would echo across centuries. The earth was tired, not tired like a body after work, but tired like a heart that has forgotten how to feel. This was a time when strength meant cruelty, when power meant silence forced upon the weak, when kindness was seen as weakness, and mercy was rare. The world was loud with noise, but empty of meaning. In Arabia, life moved by tribe, not truth. People did not ask, "Is this right?" They asked, "Is this ours?" If it belonged to your tribe, it was protected. If it did not, it was crushed. Men were valued by how hard they could strike. Women were valued by how quiet they could remain. Slaves were not valued at all. A child born strong was celebrated. A child born weak was ignored. A child born female was often buried beneath sand before she ever learned the meaning of the sky. The desert watched all of this in silence. The sun rose every morning, burning the land without mercy, as if reflecting the hearts of the people below. Idols stood everywhere, in homes, in markets, around the Kaaba itself. Some were carved from stone, some from wood, some even from food. People bowed to them, spoke to them, begged them, and yet, when hunger came, they ate their own gods. No one questioned the madness. Wars started over words, ended only when blood satisfied pride. A single insult could destroy generations. Truth had no value unless it served power. Justice was a luxury for the rich. The poor learned early that pain had no witness. And in this world, Allah chose to send mercy, not as thunder, not as fire, not as an army, but as a child. The year was 570 CE. In the city of Mecca, where trade passed through like flowing rivers of gold, a woman named Amina prepared to give birth, but her heart was heavy. Her husband, Abdullah, had died before he could ever hold his son. There would be no father waiting outside, no proud smile, no strong arms, only silence. On a Monday morning, as the sun rose gently over the mountains, a baby boy entered the world. No palace welcomed him. No crown waited. No army stood guard. He was born an orphan. Amina held him close and named him Muhammad, the praised one. People asked her, "Why this name? It is uncommon." She replied softly, "I want him to be praised in the heavens before he is praised on the earth." She did not know how true her words would become. The year was 570 CE. In the city of Mecca, where trade passed through like flowing rivers of gold, a woman named Amina prepared to give birth, but her heart was heavy. Her husband, Abdullah, had died before he could ever hold his son. There would be no father waiting outside, no proud smile, no strong arms, only silence. On a Monday morning, as the sun rose gently over the mountains, a baby boy entered the world. No palace welcomed him. No crown waited. No army stood guard. He was born an orphan. Amina held him close and named him Muhammad, the praised one. People asked her, "Why this name? It is uncommon." She replied softly, "I want him to be praised in the heavens before he is praised on the earth." She did not know how true her words would become. In Arab tradition, children were sent to the desert to grow strong, to learn pure language, to breathe clean air. So baby Muhammad was taken by a gentle woman named Halima. From the moment he entered her home, something changed. Her animals grew healthier. Her land felt lighter. Her life felt fuller. Years later, she would say, "We never knew blessing until this child came to us." But childhood does not protect from fate. When Muhammad was 6, His mother took him on a journey to visit his father's grave. On the return, Amina fell ill in a quiet place called Abwa, far from Mecca, far from family. She passed away. The child stood beside her. No father, no mother, only the desert wind, and a heart too young for such weight. He did not scream. He did not complain. He learned silence early. His grandfather, Abdul Muttalib, the respected leader of Mecca, took him in. He loved the boy deeply, sat him beside him, defended him. But love does not stop time. 2 years later, Abdul Muttalib also died, now 8 years old. Muhammad was given to his uncle, Abu Talib. Abu Talib was not rich. He had many children. Life was hard, but his heart was wide. He raised Muhammad, not as a burden, but as a blessing. And Muhammad, even as a boy, never caused pain. He helped without being asked, shared without counting, spoke little, listened much. People noticed. As Muhammad grew, something became clear. He was different. He did not join in cruelty. He did not mock. He did not cheat. He watched. He learned. He reflected. When other boys fought, he stepped away. When others lied for gain, he stayed silent. He worked as a shepherd, guiding animals under the burning sun. It was lonely work, but it taught patience, gentleness, responsibility. Later, he would say, every prophet was once a shepherd. The people of Mecca began calling him Al-Amin, the trustworthy. If something was lost, they went to him. If a dispute arose, they trusted his judgment. Even those who would one day hate him trusted him with their wealth and their secrets. By the age of 25, Muhammad was known across Mecca for his honesty. A respected businesswoman named Khadija heard of him. She was wealthy, wise, dignified. She needed someone who would not lie. She hired Muhammad to manage her trade. He returned with success, but more importantly, with integrity. He took nothing extra, asked for nothing more. Khadija saw something rare, not ambition, not greed, character. She proposed marriage. Their union was simple, quiet, pure. She was older. He was young, but their hearts met in peace. She believed in him before the world ever would. Years passed. Muhammad lived peacefully, but his soul was restless. He saw injustice everywhere. Children starving, slaves beaten, women silenced, truth buried. Something inside him refused to accept it. He began retreating to a cave on Mount Hira. There alone, he would sit in darkness, asking questions no one else dared to ask. Why are we here? Why is cruelty normal? Where is truth? He had no book, no teacher, only a heart searching for light. At the age of 40, alone in the cave, the silence broke. A presence filled the space. A voice spoke. Read. I cannot read. Muhammad replied, trembling. Again the command. Again the reply. Then the words came. Read in the name of your Lord, who created. The heavens had opened. The journey of mercy had begun. When truth entered a silent house, ***. The cave of Hira had gone quiet again. But Muhammad, peace be upon him, was not the same man who had entered it. His heart was shaking. His body felt heavy. His soul carried a weight it had never known. He hurried down the mountain, his breath uneven, his thoughts racing. The city of Mecca slept peacefully, unaware that the world had just changed forever. When he reached his home, he knocked softly. Khadija opened the door. She saw his face, pale, trembling, fear mixed with awe. "Cover me," he said quietly. "Cover me." She wrapped him in a cloak, held him close, let him breathe. Only when his shaking slowed did he speak. He told her everything. The cave, the light, the voice, the command. She listened without interruption, without doubt. When he finished, she placed her hand on his heart and said words that would echo through history. Allah will never abandon you. You speak the truth. You help the poor. You carry the burdens of others. You honor guests. You stand for justice. A man like you is never disgraced. In that moment, faith was born in a home, not a temple. Khadijah believed. She did not ask for proof. She did not ask for miracles. She knew the man. She was the first believer. Days passed, then weeks. Revelation came again, slowly, gently, like rain on dry earth. Not commands of war, not promises of wealth, but words that clean the heart. Muhammad was told to rise, to warn, to stay pure, to be patient. Yet he did not rush. He understood something powerful. Truth grows best in calm soil. So the message began quietly, inside homes, in whispers, in hearts. The first to follow him were not kings or warriors. They were people of sincerity. A young boy named Ali, only 10 years old, watched Muhammad pray. He asked questions. When he heard the truth, he said simply, "I believe." A former slave named Zayd, who loved Muhammad like a father, accepted without hesitation. And then came Abu Bakr, a man known for wisdom and kindness, a man respected by all. When Muhammad told him the truth, Abu Bakr replied, "If you say it, it must be true." He did not wait. He did not doubt, and he did not stay silent. Abu Bakr spoke quietly to people he trusted. One by one, they listened. One by one, they believed. Young men, merchants, thinkers, not rebels, not troublemakers, people searching for meaning. For 3 years, Islam grew without a stage, without banners, without conflict, just hearts meeting truth. They gathered secretly, learning words that healed wounds they did not know they had. The message was simple. There is one God, no idols, no intermediaries. All humans are equal, rich and poor, free and slave. Justice matters. Mercy matters. Truth matters. And suddenly, everything Mecca stood on began to shake. The command finally came. Warn your people openly. Muhammad stood on a hill overlooking Mecca. He called out the tribes by name. People gathered. They trusted him. He asked, "If I told you danger was coming, would you believe me?" They replied, "Yes, you never lie." Then he spoke the truth. He called them away from idols, away from injustice, away from cruelty. He warned them gently. The silence broke. Mockery followed. One voice shouted angrily, "Is this why you gathered us?" That voice belonged to his own uncle. From that day on, nothing was the same. The city that once admired him turned cold. Whispers became laughter. Laughter became insults. They called him names. They questioned his sanity. Yet they could not call him a liar. That truth burned them. They tried negotiation. They offered wealth, power, women, leadership. Muhammad listened patiently. Then he replied, "If you place the sun in my right hand and the moon in my left, I would not abandon this message." The door was closed. The storm began. The leaders of Mecca could not harm Muhammad directly. His tribe still protected him. So they turned to the weak, slaves, the poor, the forgotten. They were beaten under the sun, dragged across stones, starved. One man, Bilal, was laid on burning sand. A heavy stone crushed his chest. They demanded he deny Allah. His lips whispered only one word. One. A woman named Samaya refused to give up her faith. She was killed. She became the first martyr. Muhammad watched. He felt every wound. But he did not call for revenge. He called for patience. As Islam grew, fear grew with it. The leaders of Quraysh made a decision. No one would trade with Muhammad's people. No one would marry them. No one would help them. They were isolated in a dry valley. For 3 years, children cried from hunger. Adults chewed leaves. Muhammad stood among them, sharing their pain, never asking them to quit, never giving up himself. And then one day, the boycott ended. The paper that enforced it was eaten by insects. Only Allah's name remained. Even cruelty has an expiration date. Freedom returned briefly. Then loss arrived. Abu Talib died. The man who protected him, shielded him, loved him. Then Khadijah followed. The woman who believed first, supported always, loved deeply. Muhammad was alone. This year became known as the year of sorrow. Yet he stood, he always stood, when hope was thrown in stones, asterisk, asterisk. The year of sorrow did not end with tears. It continued with silence. Muhammad, peace be upon him, walked through Mecca as a man without protection. Abu Talib was gone. Khadijah was gone. The city knew it. Insults became bolder. Threats became louder. Still, he did not answer cruelty with anger. Instead, he searched for hope. If Mecca had closed its heart, perhaps another city would listen. So he walked. The city of Taif lay far away, beyond rocky paths and burning land. Muhammad traveled on foot. No guards, no wealth, no army. Only a young companion walked beside him. They arrived tired, but hopeful. He spoke to the leaders of Taif gently. He asked for nothing, except a chance to speak truth. They laughed. They mocked. Then they did something worse. They sent children into the streets. Stones flew. Blood flowed. Muhammad's feet were wounded, his sandals filled with blood. He ran, not in fear, but in pain. He collapsed in the garden, beneath a tree, alone, bleeding, rejected. He raised his hands, not in anger, not for revenge, but in humility. He said, "O Allah, I complain to you of my weakness, my lack of support, and how insignificant I am to people. You are the Lord of the weak. If you are not angry with me, then I do not care. I seek your mercy." This was not the prayer of a defeated man. It was the prayer of a servant who trusted completely. At that moment, the heavens responded. An angel appeared. He offered destruction. He offered punishment. Muhammad refused. "Perhaps," he said, "their children will believe." Mercy chose patience. Soon after, something extraordinary happened. One night, as Muhammad rested near the Kaaba, the angel Gabriel came, not with words, with a journey. A creature of light carried him across the land to Jerusalem. There in a sacred place, he prayed with the prophets before him. Then he was taken upward, beyond the sky, beyond time, through heavens unseen. He saw signs no human had seen, until he reached a boundary no creation could cross. There, Allah honored him. Prayer was given as a gift, not a burden. 5 prayers. Connection, not ritual. When he returned, the night was unchanged. But he was not. The people laughed when they heard. "Impossible," they said. But one man stood firm. Abu Bakr. If he said it, I believe it. Faith passed the test. During pilgrimage season, Muhammad met strangers. They listened differently. They came from a city called Yathrib. They believed. They promised support. They returned. Then they came back with more. A new home was forming, a place of safety, a place where truth could breathe. But danger followed hope. The leaders of Makkah planned the final act, murder, the night that history changed direction, asterisk, asterisk. The city of Makkah was restless. In the darkness of night, men gathered in secret. Their faces were hard. Their voices were low. They had tried everything: mockery, bribes, starvation, violence. Nothing stopped Muhammad, peace be upon him. Now, they feared one thing more than anything else: that he would leave, that his message would grow beyond their control. So they made a final decision. They would kill him. One young man from every tribe would strike at the same time. No tribe would be blamed. No blood money demanded. The plan was cruel, but they believed it was perfect. That night, they surrounded his house, swords ready, hearts full of hate. Inside the house, Muhammad was calm. Allah had already warned him. He turned to his cousin Ali, still young, still brave. "Sleep in my bed," he said. Ali did not hesitate. Outside, death waited. Inside, trust remained. Muhammad wrapped his cloak around Ali and walked out. The men did not see him. Allah placed a veil over their eyes. The prophet walked past his enemies, as if they were shadows. He met Abu Bakr quietly. This was not a journey of comfort. It was a journey of survival. Instead of heading north to Yathrib, they walked south. Confusion was their shield. They climbed rocky mountains until they reached a small cave. Its name was Thor. Dark, narrow, silent. They hid there for 3 days. The Quraysh searched everywhere. They offered rewards. They followed footprints until they reached the cave. Abu Bakr whispered in fear, "If they look down, they will see us." Muhammad replied softly, "Do not be afraid. Allah is with us." At that moment, Allah protected them. A spider spun a web across the cave entrance. A bird laid eggs. When the Quraysh arrived, they laughed. "No one could be inside," they said, and they left. Sometimes protection comes from the smallest of things. After the danger passed, they continued their journey. The desert was harsh. The sun showed no mercy. They had little food, little water. At times, enemies followed. One man chased them, hoping for the reward. But when he reached them, his horse stumbled. Fear filled his heart. Muhammad did not harm him. He promised him safety. Even in danger, he chose mercy. Meanwhile, in Yathrib, people waited every morning. Men, women, children. They climbed rooftops, searching the horizon. One day, a voice cried out, "He has come." The city erupted with joy. They sang as he entered, "The moon has risen over us." Muhammad arrived not as a conqueror, but as a guest. Yathrib became Medina, the city of the prophet. The first thing he built was not a palace. It was a mosque. Simple walls, palm trunks, earth floor, but it was filled with unity. He joined strangers as brothers, the poor with the rich, the migrant with the host. No one was left alone. He created agreements with other tribes. Rights were given. Justice was promised. For the first time, people lived as equals. But peace did not last. The Quraysh could not accept this. They marched with an army. The Muslims were few, poorly equipped. The Battle of Badr began. Muhammad prayed all night. He asked Allah for help. The next day, against all odds, the Muslims won. It was not power. It was faith. The Quraysh returned again, this time stronger. At Uhud, the Muslims faced defeat. because of disobedience. Muhammad was wounded. Blood ran down his face. But he did not curse his enemies. He prayed, "O Allah, forgive them." Pain became a teacher. Later, a massive army surrounded Medina. The Muslims dug a trench. A simple idea, but powerful. The enemy could not cross. Fear turned into retreat. Islam survived, not through aggression, but through intelligence. Muhammad marched toward Mecca, not for war, but for pilgrimage. The Quraysh stopped him. A treaty was signed. Many companions felt disappointed, but Muhammad saw clearly. Peace opened hearts. More people accepted Islam than ever before. When the treaty was broken, Muhammad returned. 10,000 followers. No bloodshed. No revenge. He entered Mecca humbly. He lowered his head. He destroyed the idols. And then he spoke words. That changed history. Go. You are free. The city that once chased him now cried. Years passed. Islam spread. One day, Muhammad gave his final sermon. He reminded people, no race is better than another. No Arab above non-Arab. Only righteousness matters. Soon after, he became ill. He smiled when he saw people praying. Then he returned to his Lord. He left no palace, no gold, only guidance. He was an orphan who taught the world compassion, a man who chose mercy over revenge, a leader who changed history without hatred, the man who still walks with us ***. When the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, left this world, the earth did not shake, the sun did not fall, life continued, and that was the lesson, because his message was never meant to end with him. It was meant to live inside people. He slept on a mat of palm leaves. Marks appeared on his back. He owned little. He gave everything. When he ate, he shared. When he spoke gently. When someone wronged him, he forgave. Power never changed him. Victory never hardened him. He was the same man, in weakness and in strength. He stood when his daughter entered the room. He listened to the poor as carefully as he listened to kings. He fed orphans. He wiped tears. He smiled often. He never laughed loudly. He never humiliated anyone. When a Bedouin pulled his cloak harshly, he smiled. When enemies insulted him, he remained silent. Strength to him was not in the hand. It was in the heart. At night, when the world slept, he stood alone. Long prayers, quiet tears. He asked Allah for forgiveness. Even though he was forgiven, his connection was not fear. It was love. Every prayer was a meeting. Every verse was a conversation. He taught that mercy is stronger than revenge. Justice must be equal. Wealth is a test. Pride destroys souls. Kindness is worship. He taught that women are honored, that parents are sacred, that neighbors have rights, that animals feel pain, that even the earth deserves respect. In his final days, his voice weakened, but his message was clear. Prayer, he said, prayer, and be kind to those under your care. No long speech, no dramatic farewell, just reminders of what truly matters. He lives when someone forgives, when someone feeds the hungry, when someone speaks truth, when someone prays quietly, when someone chooses patience. His legacy is not written in stone. It is written in behavior. If you feel alone, remember he was orphaned. If you feel rejected, remember he was expelled. If you feel weak, remember he was wounded. If you feel lost, remember he trusted Allah, even in darkness. You do not need to be perfect. You only need to try. As the story ends, do not rush. Let the silence stay. Let the lesson settle. Let the heart soften. Tonight, sleep knowing that mercy changes the world, and that one man with truth and patience changed history forever.